What up, YouTube? Welcome back. We are on episode 9 of Curated Topics, brought to you by Curated Sense LLC. My bad, I'm just fixing something in my notes right now. But welcome back. We're gonna start things off how we normally do. Candle of the evening. I'm coming back. I'm spinning the block on this one. So this one is the NBA edition of the Hennessy bottle. What we got in here? This is the Burberry for Men. Oh, it smells so good. This is a cologne scent that we make over here at Curated Sense LLC. It is a very pungent and bold scent. Smells so good. I call it my grown damn man scent. You are gonna smell like a grown man when you put this on or when you light this candle. It's great. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. This one is probably my second favorite cologne scent. The Gentleman is number one, just because that one is just so good. This one is a very close number two. Like this close, that close. Like sometimes they go back and forth. I really like to wear this. I also wear this as a cologne, but I like to wear this during the day in the summertime as it gets hot and things like that. Man, it being hot almost boosts the scent, and it just makes it throw all over the place, and it smells good. So this candle right here, this candle has top notes of bergamot, lavender, mint, and thyme, base notes of cedarwood and amber, and some other notes of sandalwood, geranium, and musk. And this overall very fresh and clean scent, and it's kind of warm, a little bit of woodsiness, very masculine scent, very bold scent, and it's just a great scent to have in your home. Check us out. We are at curatedsense.llc.com, and check us out on Instagram at curated_sense_LLC. Make sure you check us out, man. I'm telling y'all need to hop on these candles. Turn your house into a home with one of these. These smell so good. And don't forget, we got our Bye Bye Bugs candles as well. Summertime's still going. Those mosquitoes are still trying to bite you. Make sure you keep them away with one of our Bye Bye Bugs candles. I'm actually gonna light this bad boy up while I am recording. I like to, kind of set the ambiance. This is the candle that I have been using for the past few episodes. In the background, y'all don't see, but it's in the background and it's going, and it has my space smelling great. All right, we're gonna start it off with the music again today. I actually had somebody tell me that they like when I started off with the music, so I'm gonna keep it going for a little while. We're gonna talk about the Freddie Gibbs album that just dropped, Alfredo 2. Freddie Gibbs, I like Freddie Gibbs. I like him. He's another guy who I think makes really good, chilling music, vibing music, and just something you can drive to. Now, he does have a couple of songs where they're a little bit more turned up and stuff like that, but I normally listen to Freddie when I'm in the car riding around. It could be just me, or it could be, me and one of the homies chilling or something like that. We just riding around, nice cool summer day, got the windows down sort of thing. Love this album though. Alfredo 2, I'm feeling this album. And I actually did a thing where I listened to Alfredo first and then listened to Alfredo 2 next. And I must say, I'm not quite sure which one I like better. I think Alfredo 2 has the potential to put in a bid for Album of the Year. I think it could be nominated. Alfredo was nominated, and I think it was very deservedly so. And I would have to say the same for this second album. I like it a lot. I was really hoping that he would come out with an Alfredo 2. I know he did some projects in between, and I'm very glad that he delivered. This one is very well put together. Alchemist, you did your thing on these beats, man. They are nice. They are real nice. I am feeling this album. Do I think it's gonna win Album of the Year? I don't know. My choice for Album of the Year, I'ma have to stay with that Clips album, but this is up there. I've played this album the front to back quite a few times already. This at least deserves a nomination. I must say that. So great job, Freddie. You did a great job. What's my favorite song on here? So far I have two favorites. I would have to say Ensalada, featuring Anderson .Paak. That's a goodie. That song is a goodie, and it's a little bit hyped up too. It's something I could play at the party or something like that. It's chill, but it's upbeat enough to where I could get a little two-step going. I could grab me a drink. I could, you could do a little something with this song. I like that song. The other song that I think is one of my favorites is Gas Station Sushi. That song was pretty fire as well. So I encourage you all to go listen to this album. Tell me what you think. Drop it in the comments. What's your favorite song off this album? Do you think this album is worthy of an album of the year nomination? Let me know. We'll see in the comments. I did have one question though. Now I heard a lot of lines, Freddie is not one to shy away from beef and things like that, but I heard a little rumor you beefing with Currency, dog. I don't quite understand that. Freddie, if you see this video, drop a comment. Why you beefing with Currency, man? Y'all did a great project together when y'all made Fetty. Now, I heard a little line where he was saying he could have did that by himself and this and that. And yeah, you probably could have, but that was a great album. I don't think it got the notoriety that it deserved. Maybe there's some reasons in the background that, we the people don't know about. But like beefing with Currency, that's rare. It's rare that I hear anybody really have any issues with him. So I don't know. Maybe he'll respond. Maybe he won't. I don't know. But y'all make good music together, so I would like that to get figured out, because I want to hear some more Freddie and Currency projects in the future. I was really kind of hoping there was a feature with Currency on this album, so I'm a little bit hurt by this right now. Must say. I'm gonna need y'all to get it together. All right, we're gonna move on to the motivation piece. So sadly, one of my neighbors passed away, and the funeral was this weekend, and I spent some time over there hanging out with the family and all of that. We're very close, to the point where I consider them my family as well. You know how that goes. We all have those types of relationships. But I was over there and I got to talking, and people ask you what you doing and all of that, and I got to sharing some things about what I'm doing in my life and the channel and all of those sorts of things. And I was sitting down with one of my play cousins. He said, "Oh yeah, well tell me about your channel. What's this? Send me a video, something." So I sent him my latest video, and he asked me about the title, Getting Unstuck. He said, "Well, what's that about?" So I got to tell him and things like that, and he posed this question, and it has kind of motivated me to talk about it this evening. He said, "When did I know it was time for a change?" The second part of his question was there a singular moment where, that kind of motivated me to make the change? And as I was talking to him, I had to take a second to think about it. I couldn't come up with like a singular moment. I do remember a specific time, but it wasn't like, oh, there was some singular moment where I was like, okay, I gotta do this, do that. When I knew that it was time for a change, it was probably in between me transitioning from working at the college where I told you all about in the last video, and starting the process to get my GED. I had just finished up a program over the summer where they had got us paid and things like that, and I had some people approach me to work for them after doing the project. Had a presentation at the end of the program, and so we presented, and there were people there, and they actually came and approached me and were willing to offer me positions and things like that. But I had to go and get my GED first. I kept running into moments like that where it's like, okay, we see that you're smart, but you need to have these certain accolades, these certain milestones passed for you to move forward and for us to move forward. So I kept running into those sorts of situations. I was telling them how I had applied for a job somewhere, and this wasn't even like a job really in my field or anything like that. It was just something to hold me over, right? And I walked in there, I showed the guy my resume, and he looked at me and he said, "Based upon your resume, you look like you come in here to take my job, and I'd love to hire you, but you don't have your GED, you don't have these things that you need, so my hands are tied." And so I got tired of running into that situation, and I said, well, I've been trying to figure this thing out in a different way so that I could get a high school diploma, and that wasn't working. So like I said before, I had to get out of my own way. I had to stop trying to do it my way, or the way that I specifically envisioned for myself. And I had to go with the advice that I got from that counselor who I met with. He said, hey, go get your GED, then start community college, and if you want to transfer from there, transfer from there. I had it in my brain that I could do it a different way, where I'm doing this like homeschool program or whatever, get my high school diploma, go to college from there, blah blah blah. Well, that wasn't working out, and as time kept going forward, I kept running into these same roadblocks, and I think it was just the accumulation of running into that roadblock where I said, okay, I need to do something different. I need to switch it up. Once again, not to push religion on anybody, but I had to really sit and pray about it. I remember there was a couple of instances where, I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep all night. I'd wake up, be like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and I'm just awake because this is weighing on my brain. And so that's where the music came in. I talked about that and why I love music. That's where I would sit, I would listen to music, but as I'm listening, I'm doing self-reflection. I'm praying about how do I get up out of this? And it just came to me like, hey, maybe you need to try the way that guy had suggested. And I remember I was getting on the phone, I was calling different places and programs to see if I could sign up to take the GED to, get it done. And a lot of the places were requiring transcripts. Now, I didn't have my transcripts from my high school because they wouldn't release them. I found one place and they said, hey, this is a little unusual, but we do work with students who don't have their transcripts. You can come, you can take our program, come in, you'll do like a practice test so we can evaluate and see where you are, because we can't just sign you up for the test. The test costs money and we wouldn't want you to go in, spend the money, and then fail or anything like that. So come in, take a practice test, we'll see where you are and go from there. I said, okay, cool. That was the only place willing to do anything like that. So I went in, met with the people, I told them what was going on and what I had been through and things like that. And I told them, like, hey, I've been studying on the side. I had some college professors who let me audit their classes. Like, I've been doing some work outside of this program. So I feel like I'm a little ready to take the test. Okay, cool. So they set me up with the practice test. I did that my first day being there. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 days. They had to get the results. They get the results. I showed up and they said, hey, look, we think you're able to take the next available test. You have to work on the social studies area, but everything else you pretty much got down. So we're going to sign you up for the next available test. I think I had to wait like a month or a month and a half. And then the rest of the time, just get your practice in. Whatever you feel like you need to practice on, do that. Like, they really kind of let me have the reins because they saw, okay, yeah, I'm pretty much prepared to pass this thing. And I said, well, since social studies is my weakest area, I want to spend the most of the time studying that, preparing for that, doing a practice test for that, and then everything else, I'll just do for maintenance. So I went, I did that. And I think they met, every other day or 4 days a week, something like that. I would go all 4 days a week. I would go to their night sessions because I was doing things during the day to try to, earn money and stuff like that. So I'd go to their night sessions and I would spend my time there just getting prepared for this exam. And so when it came time for the exam, I was actually most nervous about the social studies because in the back of my mind, it was like, okay, this is where I'm the weakest at. Everything else, I'm good, So I made sure to take my time with the social studies portion and made sure I knocked it out. I think I've said this in another video. I'll just retell the story anyway. So, I took the test. I'm waiting for the results. I don't remember how long it took for you to get results. I knew I felt pretty good about the exam. I had studied on how to take those types of exams. Like, I put the work in, so I felt pretty comfortable. But it wasn't until I got a phone call from the local community college here. They asked me, have you gotten your results yet? And I told them, no, I haven't seen them yet. And they said, well, do you mind if we take this opportunity to congratulate you on passing and we will go over your results with you? I got to talking to them and, they said, well, we haven't really seen scores like these. These are, You got almost perfect on every section. You actually got perfect on your social studies section, and that right there is probably one of the singular moments where it didn't make me want to change, but it gave me the motivation to continue the work. And as I continued talking to them, so one of the ladies, it was very strange. I recognized her voice. I actually grew up with her daughter. We went to like music academy together where we were playing instruments and stuff. So I actually knew the lady's daughter. She asked me about what I was going through, and I kind of told her a little bit of the story, and she just said, "Oh my goodness, like, well, let me ask you this. Have you considered to go here? Like, what are your next steps and things like that?" And I asked her, I said, "Well, I'm looking for a little direction because I was focused on this step. So I need to know what the next steps are in order to do that." And she put me on with an advisor at the community college who helped me register and all of that. And I was able to start at the school that fall. So my hard work, I actually saw the fruits of my labor in real time. Somebody else showed me the results. It wasn't like I found out and then, I actually, because of being prepared, because of doing a good job, the doors open for me. I say that to say this: you have to work while nobody is watching. You have to prepare yourself. There's no way I would have passed that if I hadn't gotten prepared, if I hadn't put in the work, if I hadn't did all the things in the background. When it comes to getting yourself unstuck, when it comes to being successful, when it comes to seeing the fruits of your labor and getting results, you have to be willing to put that work in the background. You have to do it while nobody's watching. I wasn't just posting on Instagram, "Oh, look at me in class," because I didn't want any distractions to keep me from my goal. And I'm not saying that to put anything bad on posting on Instagram or anything like that. But what I'm saying is it wasn't something that I was doing because people were watching. It was something that I was doing in the background for myself when no one was watching, when I was a ghost, when nobody was looking at me. I had to do it for myself. And that's what I encourage you all to do. Do it for yourself. Put that work in while nobody is watching. Put that work in and prepare yourself. The main thing that I learned over that time, the main thing that really got me going was I had to learn how to listen to life for an answer and not just look at life and expect the result that I wanted. The way I wanted to do things, I wanted to do it kind of a whole different way. I wanted to finish somewhere with my high school diploma and just jump right into college. Well, that way did not work. We know it didn't work because it's not the way I did it. I had to go about things a different way. I had to take a little bit of a longer path, and that's okay. But I had to be open to it in order for me to see those opportunities. You have to look at things like you don't have all the answers, but you also have to be able to recognize the answer when it pops up. Here it is. Somebody had told me a way to go, and because I was I want to do it this way. Well, I ended up doing it the way that they suggested anyway. But I had to make that change. I had to let go of my own expectations. I had to let go of not my own vision, but I had to let go of how I was going to accomplish that goal. I had to let go of the path that I thought I was going to take and take the path that was laid out for me. I had to learn how to step out on my own a little bit more and not rely on others for help. Now, I did get help from others, but the initial steps out in that initial first step, I had to take it on my own. When it came time to look for these different programs and things like that, who would set me up to take the exam, I had to make those phone calls on my own. I couldn't rely on anybody to make them for me. I had to step out and I had to put myself out there and let people know, hey, okay, this is what I'm going through. I need some help and I need some direction. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to need help. We have to get out of our own way. We have to let our pride go to the side so that we can put ourselves out there and step out on our own in order to get things done. I had to keep my eyes and ears open for opportunities. Sometimes we can want things to go so much our way that we actually miss the real opportunity. When I did do it the way that was suggested for me. I found a place where, okay, I can take the GED. Now, if I had just walked in there and said, well, no, just sign me up for the next test, didn't show up, didn't take a practice test, nothing like that, I would have failed. They said, no, that's not really how we do it. We don't just take the test. You come in here, you do a practice test, and then we'll work on things to get you prepared. Okay, cool. I did that and I passed. I saw the result that I needed. And then I got a phone call about another opportunity. So by me taking that initial step and looking for an opportunity and looking for a way to make it, it was almost like dominoes. You have to press the first domino for all of the rest to fall. And because I pressed that first domino of me going and seeking out a program, I was able to pass with flying colors. Then I got approached by the community college. Then I got approached at the community college after putting in the work from a four-year university. Then I got accepted into there, and then I was able to graduate from there. But the whole way through that journey, I put in the work necessary, and I had to keep my eyes and ears open for opportunity. There's a lot of other opportunities that happened for me along that journey that allowed me to grow and excel and things like that. I learned from those beginning instances. Okay, you have to, first of all, you have to put in the work. There's nothing that's going to beat putting in the work. Absolutely nothing. But also you have to keep an open mind. You might get an opportunity that might not all the way fit your interest the way you think it will. But if you take the opportunity to do it, it might not fit the vision that you see all the way. But if you take the opportunity and do it, it may open up other doors for you. You will see the other dominoes fall on your way to success. And I want you all to take these words. I want you all to hear these words. I hope it relates to someone, and I hope they learn something from it. But don't just take my word for it. Look at the work. Look at the work that I do. Look at the work that you do. When you're consistent, when you put that work in, when you're grinding, when you're doing it, whether people are watching you or not, they will see your actions. You will see your actions. And your actions are what are the true motivator. Use the actions to motivate yourself. Your actions will lead to results, and those results are what's going to keep you going. I actually heard David Goggins say this, and it's funny because I was out working. We had what's called our volunteer day at work. So we were out working in the gardens and things like that. And I didn't even know David Goggins was in town. And he ran right past me, and I'm looking at him like, are you David Goggins? And as I'm saying this, he's still running. He didn't stop for us, which I respected, because he could have stopped. He could have said, okay, yeah, I'll take all the pictures and all of that. But he kept going. He did not let us distract him from his grind, because he was in the midst of putting that work in, running. He simply did one of these, threw his fist up in the air, and kept going. And I said, oh yeah, that's Goggins. I said, oh yeah, that's Goggins. But it's because he didn't stop. Now, in the video I was watching, he said, hey, don't listen to me talk. Don't listen to the words coming out of my mouth when y'all asking for motivation. Look at my results. Look at the work that I've put in. Look at my actions. My actions speak much louder than my words. Now, he didn't say it exactly that polite. The point still got across. Look at your actions. Your actions are what's going to be your true motivator. Those small victories, those little tiny doors opening, those opportunities that present themselves. Sometimes you gotta be quiet just to hear them, because opportunity doesn't always knock loudly. It's not always in your face. You have to learn how to see them for what they are. You have to learn how to listen out for them, and you have to jump at them when they present themselves. When an opportunity presents itself, you have to jump at it. Like you a damn lion, you gotta pounce. Pause. Super pause. When an opportunity presents itself, you must take advantage. You must. And when you do, you'll start to see a snowball effect. More opportunities will present themselves. In the meantime, put that grind in. Do your work. Do what it is that you need to do to prepare yourself. And all of those things in culmination will help make you the best version of yourself. And you'll start to see the results. I promise. You'll start to see the results. All right, before I end it out this evening, I actually want to give a shout out to my neighbor. I'm gonna call him Uncle V. Everybody who knows him, who's watching this, y'all know who I'm talking about. This was a great man, dynamite person. I don't even know how many good things I could say. You can say all the good things about him. First off, I want to say thank you to him, because when my grandmother passed away, they were all real tight. So the way it works over in my neighborhood, most of my neighbors have known me my entire life. Our families go back generations, not just, one generation, or no, it's probably like 2, 3. They were very close with my grandmother, and when she passed away, they kind of enveloped our family into theirs. I am very appreciative of them, because they could have just, said their condolences and kept it pushing. But they really made sure that me and my family felt loved and felt included and things like that. Now I do gotta say this is funny, because when we were sitting at the service, even the pastor said this, and I'm mad because he stole my joke. It was something I wanted to say, but it's cool. But they would invite us over and things like that, so we always go over different events and stuff. And there was one particular time that I remember specifically where I went over, and we get over there and we saying hi to everybody, and he said, "Hey man, make sure you get you a plate." And I said, "Hey, that I will, but I'll probably take it home," or something like that. Like, I'm not really hungry right now, and it was because we had come from somewhere else and had eaten already. And I'm just gonna say this: it's your fault that I'm this big. Pause. Because he then looked at me and he said, "Now it's impolite to not accept people's food when they offer it to you." And it's funny, it had nothing to do with like, he said, "You make me think you don't like my cooking," and it had nothing to do with that. It was literally, I had just eaten already. I just wasn't hungry. But he had a way of just forcing his love upon you. Everybody who he encountered, he loved, and everybody who encountered him, they loved him back. He had a joyfulness about him. He was just a great human being, and I want to take this opportunity to give him his flowers. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being a light here in the world. We appreciate you. We love you. We're gonna close it on up here tonight. I want to say thank you to all my listeners. I appreciate all the feedback I've been receiving from you all. I want to thank all my subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Subscribe. We building each other up over here. I want everybody to be great. Men, women, everybody. I want us all to be the best versions of ourselves. A little bit of an announcement. I am going to be doing a couple of new things here with the channel. I'm going to be adding a few things. I think I'm going to do my first live stream once I hit 100 subscribers. So get me up to 100. I'm going to do my first live stream. And I promised y'all I'm going to bring out my real pride and joy candle. And I'm going to do that. So once I hit 100, I'm bringing out the real pride and joy candle. So please share this with everybody. Tell them to subscribe so that y'all can see. And I'm going to do it on the live stream. We're going to be live here in the studio. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I've got another candle where I am going to be raffling it off. So once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to raffle off this candle. If you're a public subscriber, I'm going to put your name into one of those raffle generator things, and I'm going to press the button, and whoever wins it, I'll try to get in contact with you, send you an email or something. I'll figure out how it's going to work, but get me up to 1,000 subscribers and I will be doing this raffle. That's all the time that we have here today. Make sure y'all check us out, curatedsense.llc.com, or on Instagram at curated_sense_LLC. I'll catch y'all on the next one.